we go.
Wow.
So 44, 6 frogs, and was it 11 couples? I think so.
Or was it 12?
I think so. It might have been 12 actually. I think it's 12. 12.
Because the last one was
That was it.
around and then a couple there.
Right. 6 frogs, 12 couples, and 44 singles.
The amphibian population, mainly toads that we're concentrating on, but also frogs and newts, are trying to cross a busy road to get to their spawning pond on the other side of the road. So every February we erect a plastic barrier inside the wood, and basically once the toads, the frogs and the smooth newts get to the barrier, they stop, and that's where we come in, the volunteers.
Meet me in the long bar underneath that bright star at midnight. I'm carrying a shoe. Kiss me, baby, my head's a little hazy, but you know we'll be back soon. Be back soon. Be back soon. Be back soon. Listen to the music moving through the crowd with a drink from you. Hold me, lover, never want no other.
My name's Angelina Jones. I'm a learning support assistant at a special school just outside of Henley. I first became aware of Henley Toad Patrol in the late 80s. I realised that they'd set up the group because the amphibians couldn't get across the busy road without toad patrollers. So I turned up and I helped out on probably 2 or 3 occasions. That was 1987, and started helping out properly probably in about the year 2000. If you're a new volunteer for this year, if you can email me when things get started and arrange to meet me just on the first occasion so I can just show the ropes for 20 minutes. Once you've done that, then you're free to just turn up when you like, but just because we're on somebody's private estate, we need to get it right. The barrier is about 1,000 metres long, and the idea of it is that when the toads arrive at the barrier, they can't jump over, so they will literally just sit at the barrier, and the toad patrollers will just go up and down the barrier. They'll pick the toads up, they'll put them gently in the bucket, and when they've got a number of toads in the bucket, they'll carry them across the road to their spawning pond. Toads are very specific. They have fidelity for their pond, so they will only return to the pond where they originally were born. Thanks for turning up today. It's a cold day, but it's a brilliant job. Thank you very much. Don't forget your bits and pieces. Thank you very much. Went very well today. Good turnout of people. Quickly got the barrier up. A lot of new people or potential new volunteers, which is always good. You get the chance to have a good chat with people, which you don't always get the chance to do when it's toad patrol and we're busy.
It's always fun. It's cold, wet, it's mucky. It's great. I love it.
It's a really nice thing. It's just to help out, you know, nature, and you know, it's part of sort of the heritage of this area.
That's actually one of the really nice things about the project, is that people come when they can come.
Strolling along here with your head torch on, finding frogs and toads and carrying them over is one of the best things you can ever do. It's so much fun. I know it sounds crazy and I'm saying it. I sound like a mental person, but it really is. It's my most relaxing time of year.
We're a team, if you like, yeah. We might not meet socially, but yeah, we are a team, and our common goal is to help the amphibians, help the toads and the newts and the frogs. Henley Toad Patrol has been running since at least 1987, and then its current guise, if you like, it's been running since about 1999 by 2 gentlemen called John Sumpter and Alan Parfitt.
The next day he dropped me an email and he said, our lawn's covered in small toads again. I went down, it was. There were thousands of them. And I walked down into the woods just near the barrier, and all the way along there were thousands of these little toads. My wife and I lived in Harrow, and we moved into the Chilterns in July 1998, and I'd always wanted to sort of complement my more academic science with some practical science, and I ended up doing two things, one of which is volunteering for the Wildlife Trust, Bebout, and the other thing was the toads. Most people think of frogs and toads as essentially aquatic species. They tend to think, oh, they live in water, but they don't. They don't, most of the time. So when frogs come to spawn, a frog would not normally stay in a pond for more than 2 days, something like that. So it's very unlikely there's any frogs in here. They spawn and they're gone straight away. I'm actually quite interested in the toads because they're to most people they're not photogenic. Lots of people don't like toads. They think they're all slimy and they don't want to pick them up. And that's a very interesting issue, I think, as to now, if it was a really showy bird or something like that, would as many people turn up? I don't know, but I find it quite interesting that lots of people are willing to put in lots of time and effort to rescue some toads.
My name's Ken, I'm retired.
Hi, I'm Susanna and I'm an author. I write psychological thrillers.
Hello, I'm Howard. I'm a retired engineer.
Hi, my name is Abby. I'm a PhD student researching hedgehogs.
Hi, my name's Deborah and I'm a journalist.
So my name is Massimo. I work as a ranger for the National Trust.
But I do have a part-time job as a bus driver.
And I love animals.
I've been doing this toad patrol for 3 years now.
I'm a toad patroller and this is my first time.
I love coming on toad patrol. It's a lovely way, surprisingly, to spend the evenings.
My name's Katie. This is my second time.
I'm Sarah. This is the first year that I've done this toad patrol.
This is my first time. Actually, I knew that through Katie here.
My name's Cathy Holwell. I've been here for about 5 years or so.
I'm Nicola Taylor. I live in Henley. I'm in school with Angelina, so I've known this has been going on for however many years.
It's a very varied group, retired people, students. We've got a lady who's an ex-pilot. We've got people that are involved in conservation full-time or volunteering. We've got a lady who does modelling. We've got a photographer. It's very, very varied, but it's basically people who want to get involved with a local project, are interested in conservation and realise that these amphibians couldn't safely cross the road without our help.
Three, then they start pushing cross and oh, there's one. There you go.
It's so cute.
They need they need a friend, don't they? Really, Howard. So they're gorgeous, aren't they?
So this is male?
Male, it looks like it, doesn't it?
There's normally like a little
they're sort of friendly, aren't they?
There's normally like a little black mark on the finger.
They're on a pond now.
Go back the other end. I'll probably follow behind you slowly along to the other end. What we give up our Saturday nights for.
Yeah.
There's not many things I'd give up a Saturday night for going out, but I will do it for amphibians.
Yeah.
I think because from my point of view, I know that the amphibians can't do it without us, really.
Yeah.
There's a job to be done, and you know, why not? You know, why shouldn't I and all the other people in Henley Toad Patrol, why shouldn't we just you know, do our bit? You know, we can carry on with our lives once it's finished, but it's important to help others, and that includes wildlife as well. buckets in my hand. One of the buckets will be toads that are single, they haven't actually found a mate yet. In my other bucket will be a male and female that have already paired up. They won't be mating at this stage, but the larger female will have the male sat on top. Basically, if you like, just literally getting a lift to the pond. This is our huge lake, which at the moment is completely iced over. So this is where we will put the amphibians. We won't actually put any of the toads into the water. We'll let them decide what they're going to do. So what we've done so far is quite artificial. We've picked them up, we've, if you like, we've involved ourselves in their everyday life, but that's it now. So what we would do is we would bring the single toads over here and we will try and put them in a place where there is plenty of cover. Right. So if they decide that they're not going to go into the water tonight, they won't get overly cold. We'll put the bucket here, we'll gently pick up the toads, we'll count them, so I'll be counting every individual toad that I pick up, and I will make a note on a piece of paper how many I've picked up.
Couple number 2.
Oh, you've done this before. 41, 42, 43, and the last one is 44. 12 couples and 44 singles.
Right.
And then by the end of the evening, I will have a sheet that maybe I've collected 50 pairs, which would equate to obviously 100 individuals, and maybe I've collected 100 individuals in another bucket, and all of our data every night goes to our data collector John Sumpter, who is a professor at Brunel University.
Data is very valuable, and you can't answer questions like how is British wildlife doing. You can't answer that in an anecdotal way by sort of saying, well, I saw a kite fly past last week, I think the kites are doing well. You need numbers, you actually need numbers. But that was obvious to me because I'm a scientist. I know it's got to be evidence-based, that's what you've got to have. So I think I did know, even at the beginning, that the best thing here to do was to collect numbers.
I'm Caroline, I'm a teaching assistant here.
I'm Tak Ahmed. I'm a parent and was a governor at this school, now an associate governor.
I'm Nick Morris. I live locally to Henley.
I live in Henley and used to work in High Wycombe, so coming back in rush hour, could see lots of people in the woods with their high vises on, and I knew what they were doing because I was aware of the toad patrol and just decided one day to stop and say, what can I do to help?
So we were building a pond, and as we were building the pond, I became aware of the toad patrol, and I thought it'd be a great way to learn more about the habits of toads and newts and frogs.
I grew up in the area, and so I've known about the toads and the toad patrol for a number of years down here and about the ponds, so that's how I became involved, really.
It's quite interesting to see how the different numbers from each year, because obviously John keeps all the records, to think that one year we've found more and the next year it's less, and seeing if there's a pattern in there.
I like data, I'm a scientist, so if I see a lot of numbers I tend to get a bit excited and a bit interested in them, and just looking at this collection of 20 years worth of data, when I see it I think, wow, there's a pattern here. You can definitely see a fluctuation in the numbers each year, but more striking is the fact that you see no toads moving and then all of a sudden you get a spike. and then it dropped down, and that spike will be over 1 or 2 days, then it dropped back down to nothing at all, and then a few weeks later you may get another spike and drop down, and then that'll be it for the season.
Because there's no long-term data sets in the UK, it's impossible to know what to expect. Would you expect it to be flat? How much variation from year to year would you expect? There's not enough information in the literature to know what to expect.
So the question is, what's triggering it? Is it just temperature, or is it a combination of temperature and humidity, or starlight, or cloud cover, wind direction? We don't know.
If it's early spring or late winter, are the frogs and newts and toads moving around? Do they all move at the same time? Is there a slight difference in weeks when the frogs come first, or maybe the toads or the newts?
So there's significant variation from year to year, and at the moment there's this beautiful sinusoidal wave. To a scientist it looks too good not to have a cause, but if it's not chance and it is true, I haven't got a clue what the cause is, and there's nothing in the literature to suggest what it might be.
And what effect do those different animals have on each other?
Yeah.
So in the pond, do you find more toad spawn or frog spawn? Or if you've got more newts, do they have an effect on the frog spawn? Do they eat it?
Yes.
So do you have So do you have cycles up and down depending on who's winning?
Yeah.
And so if you have more newts one year, do you have less frogs and toads?
Possibly.
And then if you have less of those, the next year you maybe have less newts because they've,
John thinks and says that it's temperature, and having been on the barrier, I tend to agree with him, because as soon as that temperature drops, the toads stop moving. But it'd be nice to have a sort of a correlation there, a connection with the data and the local weather to see if there is a pattern that we can pick up.
I sort of grew into collecting the data with no aim at that stage of what to do with it at all. Now, I wasn't thinking I can write this up in a scientific paper or something like that. I think my feeling was that I probably had an idea that we needed to get data to be able to answer this question: is the population stable, increasing or decreasing?
In the sort of the noughties, if you like, it was still very much a system whereby you wrote it down on paper, how many numbers you got by the end of the evening. You then called Alan Parfit, who was the coordinator as well, and you would give him, your numbers over the phone. It's a very long-winded way of doing it. A few years ago now, I suggested that I could do it so that we involve people more by email, and it's transformed the group because it's so much easier. We also have a WhatsApp group now, so that if it's very busy along the barrier and we don't have many volunteers, somebody can literally say, help, come along, we need more volunteers, and people will just turn up straight from work or from their house and they will come and help out.
My name is Alan Staley. I'm a professional photographer. Toads aren't completely predictable. If there's not enough people on site, those guys can be really quite under pressure.
Because there was one time when I came here with 2 other people, and there were toads everywhere. And we thought, we need some other people, so we need a way of getting more people to come.
The people on site needed an easy way of being able to contact the other patrollers, so a WhatsApp group seemed to be the most obvious way for them to do that.
You can instantly contact
and
the whole
help.
group list and say, no, it's quiet, don't bother coming.
Yeah.
Or, please come, it's raining and it's gone crazy.
We've already had one evening where exactly that scenario happened. We had a heavy shower about 9 o'clock at night.
They were literally just coming from nowhere, so every step you took, you were picking one up. So one of the girls sent a message on WhatsApp, and it was brilliant because people that had been here earlier had gone home, they came out again. And some people were just at home putting their feet up, they just got the message and they came along, so that was a big help.
More toads were able to be saved, so it's a good addition to Henley Toad Patrol.
Would you say it brought the community closer together?
I think actually it has.
I think it's generally, you do get a small group of people with that sort of, community-mindedness, and it just takes a few people to really make a big difference.
So my name's Melissa. I'm a part-time model.
My name is Amelia Kennedy, I get called Millie for short. I work in telesales. I live at home with my wife and my son, and my dog Percy.
My friend who's a model out in the Netherlands, she always like posting on Facebook kind of about her toad patrol over there, and I was like, oh cool, you know, kind of sounds fun. And she was like, well, they do it all over kind of Europe and stuff, so see if there's a local one.
When I was young, we lived in Marlow. We were driving to Henley for some reason, and there was people on the road with buckets, and I remember saying to my mum, what are they doing? And she said, they're picking up the toads. They walk across this road. And back then there wasn't the barriers, I mean, it wasn't as advanced or organised as it is now. And I said, you have to do that, Mum. Like, I want to do it. And she said, well, kids can't do it because it's too dangerous. And I made my mum go and do it.
We know everybody, obviously when newcomers come along, you know, welcome into our like family, I suppose. Yeah. It's like a big family, and everyone kind of chats on the way down.
Everyone says hello to everybody, and you know, we always do, who's that? Because you can't see each other, because you've got your head torches on. Who's that? Angelina always said, who have we got here? It's Millie. Oh, hi, Millie.
As we finish the toad patrol, she'll send an email around and say, yeah, let's all go for a drink or somewhere in Henley, and we'll meet up then. And you'll think, God, that's what
we don't recognise each other.
Yeah, God.
You kind of bump into people and kind of go, oh, yeah, how are you? Some people you haven't seen for a while, other people you might have seen the night before.
But I guess we're all there for one common reason, and it's that we want to rescue the toads and help them across the road. So we've all got something in common. How can you not get on with people that you have something in common with, especially something so cool?
Last year was my first year.
Yeah.
I enjoyed doing it. I think it's good to get some camaraderie. I think it's good for people's overall health as well, actually. Positive for sort of mental health and keeping positive and things like that.
You almost get into sort of like almost like a hypnotic, sort of calm, if you like, feeling. And I do sometimes find myself just walking up and down, just talking out loud or even singing, which I suppose some people would find a bit bizarre. But I think because I feel in myself very calm. So even if I've had a hectic day in school, I do find it very therapeutic. And I think from what happens when I speak to the other toad patrollers, a lot of people feel the same.
It's a good feeling, and obviously being happy in life is good anyway.
I enjoy it. It's really good fun. It's relaxing. It's nice being out after a busy day at work.
I love toads and frogs. They're my favourite animal. It's like I'm going out every night, just going, yeah, you know, I get to kind of see these cute little toads and frogs and newts as well.
I genuinely really enjoy it. It's as simple as that. It's quiet and serene.
It is good to do it. I think it's healthy to do it.
We all have things going on in our lives. Everybody has stresses and strains of modern life, but however bad your day is gone, however bad things are within your family or illness or whatever, you just turn up at the barrier, and all you've got to do is pick up amphibians and put them in a bucket.
So what makes people to leave their warm homes on Saturday night to come and collect amphibians?
That's a good question. Is it just about saving amphibians?
No.
No, I don't think so. Is it just about that? To help the environment? I think it's probably to help yourself as well.
Yeah.
Actually, benefits you get from it. And again, to go very deep into it, you are saving yourself in some sense.
Yeah. Very true.
This is the end.
This is the Circle of Life for Toad Patrol 2019.
Probably the most successful one in terms of people coming every night, and just in the quantity.
Okay, so now we're at the end of the life cycle in some respects, but the beginning of the life cycle in another. So it's now mid-July, the tadpoles have fattened up in the ponds, they've shrunk their tails, they've grown legs, and now they leave the water, and they'll leave the water for 3 or 4 years before they come back as adults. They're absolutely minute at this stage, and they'll sit on your fingernail if you can catch them very, very easily. And you can sometimes see them in a grass. They're quite elusive, quite difficult to catch. And then they'll disappear into the vegetation, into the woods. They'll go many kilometres away. And what we hope is that they'll come back in 3 or 4 years' time and spawn in the same pond that they left 3 or 4 years earlier.
Mountain road that lies ahead is still the one we have to climb. No safety belt, no four-wheel drive, baby, just you and I. Ooh, hope we see us through. As you believe in me and I believe in you, my forgetful heart. My forgetful heart.